Building a fashion brand is not easy. Building a sustainable fashion brand even less. What does a brand have to do to be sustainable? How to grow the business? How to succeed internationally? What are the challenges? Today we want to discuss this topic from various angles with the following guests. Thimo Schwenzfeier, show director of sustainable trade show Neonyt. Claudia Hofmann, co-founder and member of the board of the Fashion Council Germany. And Frederikke Stolbjerg, co-founder and CEO of Danish bags brand Stolbjerg, Copenhagen. Frederikke, you started your brand 4 years ago and you have reached quite some success in Scandinavia. Now you're also coming to Germany. But of course it hasn't always been like that. Once you had an idea and, could you take us through the steps that took from the idea to founding a company, and what were the challenges as a sustainable brand?
First of all, it was a condition for us to be sustainable, for us to start a brand at all. Because as the world has it now, we have enough things here. So if we need to and want to create more things, then we really need to take the responsibility and do it in a sustainable way, as I see it. So this was like the condition for starting at all. So for me, it was having an idea and needing to create something. And the first issue that I met was to find a production place that could live up to the standards we have for producing sustainable. So it took quite some time, and we tried to do it ourselves to begin with, but quite quickly saw that we needed some support to be able to find the best places that could work within the conditions that we have.
But I can imagine that it's quite difficult to find those places. I mean, in the beginning, there's a product, there's an idea, there's a brand name, but and probably finding a producer is not that hard in general, but finding a producer that can produce in a sustainable way even more. So how did you find that? How did you find your partners?
Well, to begin with, I found some local designers in Copenhagen that I knew produced in a sustainable way. And I tried to convince them to open their places up for me, which they honestly wouldn't do because they took so long time themselves to figure out where to do, so they wouldn't open their spaces for me. But I convinced one of them to have a coffee with me, and within 3 quarters she even offered to buy some of the really non-existing company at that time. But at least she opened her production place for me, so that was how I began. It's a small family-owned place where they make their own canvas, organic canvas, so this was how I started. And quite quickly we saw that we needed some more places because it's important for us to have more than one place where we produce. So I found a place in Copenhagen called Sourcing House, where they have a sustainable profile. So what they do is that they help brands like us to find production places that live up to the criteria that the brand has.
Mm-hmm. You wanted to become a sustainable brand from the start. What does sustainability mean for you? How do you translate that in your work?
Well, to me, sustainability is a lot of things. It's not only working with non-dangerous, non-chemical materials. It's within many layers. So it has to be sustainable within the way you design, the way you see seasons. So you have to work across seasons. That is what we do, and what I think is the right thing to do within sustainability when you talk about fashion. And it's, of course, the way you produce, the way the workers are, their conditions, how your logistics work, how you transport things, how you pack things, everything you do. So we really try to think sustainability within everything we do, but it's also very important for me to say that we are not 100% sustainable, because I think that if you work with fashion, if you work with production, it's not really realistic to be 100% sustainable, but you can always do the best things possible. And we still work on trying to get better. The knowledge keeps increasing, so we try to dive into all nerdy stuff and figure out what is the best way to do it, because I think a lot of people are unaware of what is really sustainable. There are a lot of greenwashing when you talk about sustainable fashion. So to us, it's important that it's actually sustainable, not something we just say, because for us, it's something in our hearts and minds, and not something we say to get some interest.
Neonyt is one of the most important physical marketplaces for sustainable fashion in Europe. So at one point you also had to come up with a definition of sustainability. How do you define sustainability for you and therefore for the trade show Neonyt?
First of all, I really love the spirit from Frederikke saying that she's not 100% sustainable, because actually that's just how it is. You can't be 100% sustainable. That's not possible at all. But what you can do is you can define how sustainable you are, how sustainable you want to be, and then you can always improve, because we will never be able to reach 100%. It's an ongoing transformation process, and that's exactly how we see it at Neonyt. We have defined a questionnaire for all of our exhibitors, and there we let them give us information about the seals they're using, like Global Organic Textile Standard, Fairwear Foundation, Oekotex, you name it. We asked them about the production process. We asked them how transparent they are, how transparent they can be. It's even possible to not using seals, but sharing information with us. For example, if you produce in Portugal, tell us with what company, give us a letter of recommendation from the company, and then we check that. Frankly speaking, we are not able to check it like super deep, so there's a lot of trust involved in this process, but I'm pretty sure that none of my exhibitors in the past betrayed us here. If they would do, and we would find it out, they would be out of the business. So there's a lot of trust within the process, but also a lot of transparency, because we ask a lot of questions about the production process and where the materials come from, and what is the location of production, and so on and so on. And even if you produce in Bangladesh, it's still possible to produce in a sustainable way. But then please make sure that the workers, especially the female workers, are allowed to be organized in a union. That they get paid living wages, that they can take vacation, that they can take a day off when they're ill, stuff like that. So it doesn't matter where you are producing. It's just about the transparency within the production chain. And this is something very specific we're asking for. And if a brand meets at least 70% of our requirements, then they are allowed to actually be part of Neonyt. And this is our, let's say, Neonyt approved stamp, which is super important for the buyers, for the retailers, because when they visit Neonyt, they can use their know-how, their knowledge on style, design, on the chemistry between the brand and the retail itself, but they do not have to care about the sustainability aspect, because that's what we have done already. And again, they trust us, and that's how it normally works. Of course, some of the retailers are also asking us for details because they want to use it in their communication. They want to learn more about it, and then we try to be as open as possible, or to do the connection with the brands, or even with the seals, for example. The main action point here is our questionnaire. This is our guidance tool of sustainability.
Mm-hmm. Do you see a trend when it comes to aspects of sustainability? There used to be a time when everybody was vegan, and all of a sudden, the recycling, upcycling came up. Do you see a trend over the last couple of years, Thimo?
Yeah, I mean, there's actually one big trend. It's circularity, cradle to cradle. Mm-hmm. That's a super big upcoming thing, not only in the fashion industry, but every other industry as well. And I would say circularity is such a big thing. It's not going to be a trend. It will be kind of mandatory within the next maybe decade. It's hard to say because it's difficult to be circular, or to also here define what exactly circular is. But I think all of the industries on this planet have to be circular at a certain point and within a quite short time frame. So this is absolutely a big thing. Also, another thing we can see, and I'm pretty sure we will see that in January physically, again, hopefully in Frankfurt at Neonyt, is the combination of performance, fashion, and sustainability. We really can see that more and more performance and outdoor brands are stepping into the sustainable world, but quite huge and very strict and very concrete in what they want to do. And this is something we want to support as well. We want to show it. And the third thing is that we can see that the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations are getting more and more well known, more and more important to get connected with and to commit to the SDGs. And we really can see that it's a communication tool at a specific point, but it's also kind of a starting point that you can talk about your status quo when it comes to SDG 13 climate action, when it comes to SDG, I think 12 life below water, stuff like that. You can talk about your status quo, and then you can talk about the action points. What are you going to do to become more sustainable? So the SDGs are a quite, maybe not easy, but a quite accessible tool to talk about sustainable actions within your brand, company, organization, whatsoever. And this is also one of the bigger trends. And I really can recommend to work with the SDGs by heart, because they're so accessible and so easy to use, but only at the first point. When you go deeper, then you really have to be concrete about your action points.
Claudia, of course, we're also curious what your take is on sustainability. Where do you see specifically the challenges for sustainable brands? What is your take on the topic? Your sound is muted.
So for us as Fashion Council Germany, we are the patron to support and empower German fashion design and design landscape in Germany for visionary and more technical and sustainable global markets. So I think it's super important also for us to initiative to give the designers a platform, and with our lobbying work with the politics in the industry, to give them a platform to learn to be sustainable. And we have programs for that, fellowship programs, and like the sustainable program we support together with the Berlin Senat, or with, of course, Neonyt and the Messe Frankfurt. So to give the young designers the possibility to learn through experts how to create a sustainable brand. And as Frederikke said before, that it's not important that you, first of all, be 100% sustainable, but you are responsible of what you're doing. So you take care. So it's also like to see what you want to do and what your design is standing for, and that you have a vision and a mission with your brand, and not only to create something that no one needs. Or you really have to think about, if you create something or produce something, for whom is it, and what do you want to say with it, and how people can wear it, and how long does you can wear it. So quality, design is super important. And I think that with our programs, we do a great work, and to educate them through experts and our work, that we are supporting designers for the future,
But
that they are doing the right thing.
You're making a great point there. If we talk about sustainable fashion, there's two parts in that term. There's sustainable and then there is fashion. I think pretty much all the brands do take great care about the sustainable aspect. But Claudia, do you have the feeling that the fashion aspect is good enough in today's sustainable fashion community? Or could it be even better? Or the other question, to put the question a little bit different, would high fashion and sustainability, trends and etc., also work with sustainability? Does that go together?
Yes, I think it goes quite well together, as we see Stella McCartney doing it since years and years. And for me, the best thing is that that the customer don't have to question, is this sustainable? It has to be, first of all, the customer has to love it, to like it, because of the design and because the customer wants it. And then there should be no question that it's sustainable. So for me, the responsibility is coming from the designers, from the industry, that they give their customer the right product. So I think it's for high street fashion, for high fashion, there's always a solution to produce sustainable. And so Timo is more the expert of this with all the work he is doing for such a long time, that also the technology changed a lot. And so designers can choose for more quality, for more design aspects of materials. So also that we before maybe we had all these plain things like the simple cotton t-shirt, simple cotton dress, but now you can really design amazing clothes, even for couture. So it's a combination of technology and sustainability and how you put it together for the design.
Frederikke, do you have to make compromises when it comes to creating? Because you are sustainable? Can you do everything that you want to do?
No, not exactly everything that I want to do. I hear what Claudia says, that, and it's true that more and more possibilities are coming. But to me, we still have some issues within containing to be sustainable and a free mind of design. And I think one of the issues are prices, to be honest, because even though sustainability is something that means more and more to the consumer, it's still not everybody who is willing to pay the extra price that it often costs to create and produce sustainable. And that is what I still find as an issue. So I try to, of course, I love simple design as well, which I always do. But if I didn't love it, I would still feel the need to create this way, because to reduce the prices on the sustainable materials.
Okay, so let's say you have a product now, and then you have it produced, and then the question is how to sell. How did you make your brand known, and what were the first steps? How to get out there? How to get to the customer, to the consumer? How did you do that?
In the beginning, it was only organic growth by social media. So we showed it on Instagram to begin with, and pretty fast it almost exploded. So we built a web shop, which we didn't even have at the time, with only one product. And I'm sure that no one would ever advise you to do so, but we did it because it was necessary for us to do. So that was how we started. So by Instagram, and then we made this web shop and added more and more products. And now we also do paid advertising, which works pretty good for us.
Okay. Thimo, I mean, as a platform, you're also a marketing platform. What is it that you can offer smaller brands like Frederikke a couple of years ago? What is it that you as a trade show can do to sort of push them more? What is it that you do already?
So actually, it's several things. It's always the question how you are using a trade show as a brand, no matter if it's like up and coming or like quite established already. First of all, it's being part of a marketplace. So getting access to retailers, getting access to buyers, but also getting access to press, to influencers, even to people who are just like part of a community or part of a network, but still could be interesting to know because of potential upcoming projects in the future. But of course, it's always about sales. So the buyers and retailers are quite important. And Neonyt in the past, like the last physical show we had, unfortunately, in January 2020, so 1.5 years ago. But from 2019 to 2020, we have doubled the numbers of retailers, of buyers, especially from the conventional side, because they have seen that sustainability is getting more and more important. So this is one aspect. Clearly, it's absolutely sales-based. But the way or the reason why we've founded Neonyt, why we've relaunched it, is that we always believed and still believe in storytelling, that we believe in communication, that we believe in how to build up a brand from a marketing perspective. And we think Neonyt is quite ideal in these scenarios as well. So it's a communication platform because we have so many journalists and editors at Neonyt, and they search for like the best in class sustainable solutions. They search for something unseen. They search for state of the art. And I think everything you find at Neonyt. We have communication tools which are very much concrete or connected with social media, for example, when it comes to our influencer area pre-peak, where we have like a green community, but not only green, also influencers which are just like on the way to be like more vegan or more organic or whatever, and they meet up. I mean, they want to meet at the Fashion Week anyway. But we give them an area where they can just have a nice gathering, nice get together. And we have in this area, we have a massage studio, we have a tattoo studio, we have some DJ sessions, some yoga sessions. So we just try to give them a good time. And also you can then be, or they can then be connected with our brands, with our labels, because there's a walkable wardrobe, and they can check out for the latest collections, for new styles. And they can just take a photo and then send it out to the Instagram followers. And so this is something we do as well. And we try to use our channels and our connections with the media, with the editors, to tell them the news about the actual exhibitors, the actual brands, but also the up and coming and the new brands. And we try to create storylines, for example, the latest in vegan, the latest in organic cotton, the latest in accessories for bags, for example, or when it's about shoes and so on and so on. So we try to create storylines on our own and share them with the press, with the communities. And this is a lot we can do. Mm-hmm. But at the end, I always, and this is something I try to stress as much and as often as possible. And I'm pretty sure, Frederikke, we also talked about it when we met in Berlin last time, that at the end, it's also about the brand itself. No matter how big you are, no matter how established you are, a brand has to show themselves in a progressive way, in a modern way, in a stylish way. And it doesn't, honestly, it's not about 6 square meters or 60 square meters. Of course, the bigger the booth, the easier to get seen. But in the end, it's just do something special, do something with your product, do something with your marketing, with your storytelling. I have a great brand in my portfolio, Adam Underwear from Amsterdam, and they bring a boxing machine, and you can just be there and give a hit. And if you are over 800 points, you get 10% off your first order as a retailer. But there are not only retailers there. all the people, the whole community is there in the morning and the evening and trying to box the machine because it's just fun. And this is just something you really need to be aware of, that fashion is marketing, is communication, is storytelling. And this is also part of your trade show presence. And if you are not present enough, you won't be seen.
Very much true. And especially Claudia, I mean, you're an expert, a true expert when it comes to visualizing and to marketing. And I mean, that's the other hat that you're wearing, as you always say. You're not only part and member of the Fashion Council Germany, but you're also a consultant, a well-known consultant, a successful consultant. What is it that sustainable fashion brands can do to improve on the visual end, on the communication end?
I think for especially also young brands to get visible is to have a own USP. Even if you have a super basic collection, you need an USP. And as also Thimo said, it's all about like how you transport it in an authentic way. So if you, I like the idea of underwear and boxing. So, but it comes maybe some. It's natural. Also like these active things and active things to do and to show off and to be inspiring and to be do something unusual and new. But also I like the idea if you have a brand, also like Frederikke says, she's like it's really also like basic, more on quality. It's also good to have in your portfolio that you have to say you work together with influencers. They support young designers. They stand for something. They have to reach out and promote young designers. And also I like the idea of collaboration, as we can see with Gucci and the North Face. For me also it's sustainable that brands are not only working by their own. It's just like you have your expertise in one field, and that could be design, but the other one has the expertise in sustainable, like North Face, in to be functional and to be sustainable in the way you can produce, more technical. And then you put it together and it's a huge buzz. And that's what Tim also said before, people need buzzes in a world where we have so many pictures through social media. So you have to be seenable, but also for me, it's super important that you have your own USP. And this sometimes brands lose this mission because they say, oh, we have to be like this brand. We have to use this communication tool. And then it becomes almost the same for everyone. And I think it's key to, content is key, and but a special content is more key than ever now. And yeah, we can use all this social media thing, all this technical digital thing to spread it out. And what I heard also before, buyers today are more important than ever, because print media was it before, now it's social media, but also the buyers have the power to look for new brands, to support them, to bring it to their stores, and also bring it then to their customers. So it's a few things that has to come together to create a good and relevant brand, first of all, and then, of course, it should be sustainable and responsible.
Yeah. I mean, it's a question to all of you. Do you guys see a secret formula why some brands succeed and others don't? What is the formula? If you had to sort of cook the sustainable fashion brand, the perfect sustainable fashion brand, what would be in the recipe? Frederikke?
Thank you for asking me about that.
I mean, it's a question to all of you. Like, I mean, you've seen so much, and there's so much experience and knowledge in this platform. What is the secret recipe, the secret formula?
I believe, as Claudia says, that it's important that you don't try to be other brands, that you are yourself and you try to show what it is you have that you can give to the consumers and the people around you. So that is absolutely important, that you find your own identity and that you stick with that. Because if you haven't got a true story to tell, then no one will believe you, of course. So that is super important, first of all. And then I think another thing that is, from my perspective, very important is that you stick to the plan and that you keep going no matter how many bumps you meet on the road, because of course you will meet bumps on the road when you start a new brand and when you try to start a business in general. So having your eyes on the the goal and keep on moving forwards and telling the world what it is that you feel that you can share with them. And as Thimo said, of course, I forgot to say that before, we also, of course, entered fair trade shows like Neonyt, and the press has also been important. So what I think is important is that you use these platforms to tell your story, and it has to be your story, not what you see is successful for someone else, but for you.
Mm-hmm. Claudia, does it work with money? Or with little money?
I mean, money helps. So it's also like in this business, and to see how you can, go on with your brand, but also like now it's with this seasonless idea of fashion. It helps, and you don't need so much money anymore. Like if you produce, like for high fashion brands, they sometimes produce 12 collections a year. So if you would, if it would come back to a seasonal rhythm, like 2 collections a year, of course, then you don't need so much money to produce or create a brand. But I think it's also super important, and that's what we see at the Fashion Council. We are supporting brands with experts, and also to get the money from the European Union or from the industry to support the brands. Of course, money is super important to create a brand and to start. It gives you a good feeling. But also, I think it's good that you, first of all, for me, it's to have the idea. And then money will come and people will come to support you because you're good and you're relevant. And you can find business angels then if you are innovative enough. But of course, you need money to create a collection and to build a collection and also like to present a collection. So that's why initiatives like us are so important, that we give young designers the opportunity together with the Messe Frankfurt and Neonyt the possibility to can use a stage also.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably is also about not only about money but also professionalism. Thimo, do you, I mean, over the course of the years you have seen many brands. Do you have the feeling that the entire segment did get more professional and also more successful financially? I mean, you probably can tell because, you know, brands book bigger booths and spend more money with you eventually. But what is your take on this?
Well, I mean, what I can say is that when we have opened the registration for Neonyt this summer, and it was open until end of April, beginning of May, because we still believe we can have a physical Neonyt, and then we had to close it down because of the numbers from Corona. But until then, we were on the same track, even a little bit better than January 2020 when you compare the times. So I would say absolutely yes. The sustainable brands are absolutely professional, and they have become more and more professional over the course of the last years. I would say, especially last 3-4 years, and they have the power. Of course, some are struggling. I mean, a lot of brands, a lot of companies are struggling, and some are struggling here a lot. But the basis they have founded over the last years, is really, really good, and it's very stable. So they go through the crisis, I would say even a little bit better than the conventional brands, and they have gained more trust, and trust is also here very helpful. I mean, of course, money counts, but the trust aspect when it comes to the relationship building with the retailers, even with the banks, with investors, is important. So that's something we can see. I can personally see when I talk to the brands a lot. And this is something which goes hand in hand with being more and more professional over the course of the years. When we've founded Neonyt, or when we've established it in January 2019, which is really not so long ago, honestly, thinking back, but already then we saw that there is, like, Neonyt as a trade show, as a platform for sustainable fashion, was getting more professional, and so the brands. Because even us, we had to be clear about our own positioning. We had to be more visualization oriented, design oriented, style oriented. When we had ethical fashion show and green showroom before, it was great, but we were kind of stuck in this cliche of being green only. And with Neonyt, we took the advantage of a next step of becoming more stylish and more professional at the end. And all the brands which were following us were on the same track, and they still are on the same track. And that's absolutely what I can see. And it's also, and this is the most important part here, I get the feedback, especially from the conventional retailers. Like when I talk to retailers like Bräuninger or Garhammer or even Zalando or About You, they tell me all the time, like, listen, now I can really talk to the brands, to your brands, in a way, like, they give me the numbers I need, they give me the KPIs I need. And 5 years ago, it was really difficult. They were struggling. When Bräuninger was joining Ethical Fashion Show 5 years ago, and we're trying to sit down with one of my brands, like, oh my God, I have to completely explain them the way of doing business. And now all the brands are prepared. They're like, okay, you're a buyer. This is the segment. This is the turnover expectation. This is the collection solution I can give you. And by the way, I also have POS solution support for you. So that's my package. Take it. And they're like, oh my God, wow! I'm talking to professional experts, and this is something really important. Of course, it still has to be improved, but I can see a huge professionalization over the last 2-3 years, 100%.
That's great news. So guys, before we come to the end, because everything good always comes to an end at some point, I wanted to give everyone a last question. So Thimo, let's stick with you. What can we expect in January 2022? What is the good news? Give us hope.
Well, the good news is we will try our very best to make a physical exchange happening again, finally again, after then 2 years of not seeing each other. And believe me, whatever is possible, and if I have to invent a new vaccination by myself, we will try to make it happen, that people, no matter from where, can come to Frankfurt to meet up, to be part of Neonyt again, to be part of Fashion Sustain Conference. I mean, the Fashion Sustain Conference, the last 3 days, we just had it digitally, was great. We had so many insights, content-wise, it was amazing. But still, when I was opening Fashion Sustain Conference and I was just seeing the camera just like now, and I was not aware of the audience, I was not aware of the noise, of the smell, of everything, of seeing people acting and reacting, I really thought that's not why we are doing this. This is not the reason why I am in the business. I'm in the business to actually be with people, see people, connect with people in a real way. And this is something we're really looking forward for January 2022, and welcoming people from all over the world as much as possible, physically in Frankfurt for the then very first time ever of Frankfurt Fashion Week with Neonyt, with our colleagues from Premium Seek and some other new formats as well. And we will try hard to make Frankfurt the hotspot for fashion, for sustainable fashion especially, and even for the entire textile industry, because we want to involve the supply chain, the production chain as well. And this is something I'm really happy about, I'm really already proud of, and something we are absolutely looking forward to.
Awesome. Claudia, are you going to go? Are you going to be in Frankfurt in January? And that's the first question. And the other question is, how do I become a member of the Fashion Council Germany? What do people have to do to work with you, to to benefit and to be supported by you, to get some expertise from you guys?
So yes, I will go to, of course, I go to Frankfurt, and I'm really looking forward to see the exhibition, and I hopefully we can see each other, Thimo, then in real life. Yeah. And all the fashion industry needs that, and to exchange their experience. And I mean, it's such a big change now, also through COVID, and it's in the fashion industry, so that we really need to sit together to change. And of course, first of all, we need to take action. So it's a lot of talking through all these times, but now we need to act. And this is also from my side, I wish to that also the buyers and so then the consumers change their behaviors on behalf of sustainable fashion, to understand a little bit more what is sustainable fashion, and to spread it out, to take it out, and to support the brands who work sustainable and responsible. And how you become member, just go on our site, fashioncouncilgermany.org. So, and then you find under membership everything you need to know to become a member. And we would love if you join the Fashion Council. So we are always interested in great members to shape the industry together, and to be supportive. And that's what we need. And
So who can join? Can anybody join, or do only certain people, only brands, or who is able to be?
No, you can also join as a journalist, or as a brand, of course, or like the industry can join. So also like for the industry, you can be also a partner of the Fashion Council, and we can also do programs together, what we do now also with the Otto Group, for example, the Messe Frankfurt I mentioned before. So, and Swarovski, we did amazingly fantastic programs together, educational programs. And so there's no exclusion for everyone. So join us, be with us, and as I said, shape the industry together.
That's great news. Frederikke, what are you up to? Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now, and how to get there in 2 sentences?
Okay, 2 sentences.
No, a bit longer.
I will be going to Germany as well with the brand, trying to go further out in the market there. This is actually the next step that we're working on, so you guys can help me a little bit maybe.
Yes,
and then we will, as you talked about a little bit earlier, how to make your growth happen. We will be working on a fusion with one of our producers who are actually circular, so we can be even better within sustainability.
That's great news. So we're all looking forward to that. Guys, it's been a pleasure talking to all of you. Thank you for your time and for your insights and for your knowledge. It's been great fun. For all of you watching, please, you know, this is live streamed during our Who's Live trade show event. So after this, please go and visit all the digital showrooms on our platform. There you also can find the designs of Frederikke Stolbjerg in the digital showroom of Stolbjerg and many, many others. It's been great. Thank you and see you guys the next time. Thank you.